All right, good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Atchison County Commission meeting for Tuesday, May 20th. Thank you for your patience while we worked out a couple technical difficulties this morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order and our county clerk will provide roll call.
Commissioner Quinn,
Present.
Commissioner Knoll,
Here.
Commissioner Campbell.
Here.
All right, we do not have an invocation this morning. If you please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, forgot my hair. I read my mind.
All right,
First time that I forgot.
next is public comment. Anyone here for public comment on non-agenda items? Okay, seeing none. Approval of the agenda. I have a few additions to the agenda. We're going to add the first judicial district in Walnut Township treasurer advertising to give direction to the clerk for that. Also give direction for the proposed site plan to be presented to the City of Atchison Planning Commission. Also from 11:05 to 11:25, have an executive session for attorney-client. And that's that's the additions that I have. So with those additions, I would look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So move. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Consent agenda, we have the commissioner meeting minutes from last week, as well as the minutes from the special meeting on the 15th. Those. Tuesday, May 13th and Thursday, May 15th, and then the finance director review.
Morning.
Yep, good morning.
So we have payroll this Friday, for $181,626.89. It's a little lower this time. Credit cards is a little larger this run. This is the first check date after the statements come. So almost every department has some sort of bill. So for the appraiser's office is $2,190.96. That's for travel expenses, vehicle expenses. $5.11 for county general postage. The postage machine was down during the cyber incident and postage had to get out by statute. So I had authorized the appraiser's office to go to post office to get that postage done. $729.95 to emergency management for a weather subscription. $250 even to EMS for job advertising. $335.13 for maintenance on supplies, cleaning supplies. $484.13 for the sheriff and jail for travel expenses, fax subscription, Atchison Globe subscription, Apple storage subscription, vehicle registration. $50.38 for noxious weed for a stamp and toll fees for training. $2,098.35 solid waste to add dates to a banner for county cleanup, shop supplies and tire repair. $732 even to community corrections for FedEx shipping charges, training and travel expenses, admin professional stay expenses. $1,484.76 to road and bridge for batteries on traffic counters, American flags, office supplies, Sam's Club renewal, Class A and CDL testing, toll fees, shop supplies, supplies for equipment repair, and paint for road closure signs. And $350.72 to district court for K.S.A conference training and travel expenses and jury supplies. All of those looked ordinary expenses. And then the total AP run for tomorrow, May 21st, is $125,858.89. That's all I have.
Thank you. Look for a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
And seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes. 3-0. Dang. Okay, next is commissioner comments. Commissioner Campbell?
I don't have much other than, I feel like the lake, meeting. The 15th was productive. I think we have a direction that we're gonna go. Also planning to attend the, project concern. Board meeting tomorrow at noon and hopefully. Put some rumors to rest there. We'll see. That's all I have.
Commissioner Arnold?
Yeah, I thought the meeting went well the other night, and had some good discussions afterwards, in the parking lot, so, so we'll be discussing, the lake here, really soon. This is one of the first things on the agenda. Also, and the commissioner that is normally seated with the project concern, so we've got that tomorrow. I'm glad you're gonna attend, and we're gonna be mindful of our roles as commissioners in the same place. So anyone that thinks that we can't be, we've already cleared it, that we can be at a, not be in session, but as long as we don't have discussion between us at the meeting. So I just want to kind of put that out, that we are well aware of the situation. So
Thank you. So I will also be attending the project concern meeting tomorrow in Atchison. Eric took over as commissioner this year for 2025. However, I was the commissioner last year during all of the budget cuts for 2025. So giving updates as far as funded through ARPA and not yet finished with our 2026 budget. So any misinformation that's out there, it'll just be nice that we will all be there at the board meeting to answer any questions. Also, the Main Street group through the chamber is having an elected official focus group tomorrow at the Bank of Atchison. So I'll be attending that at 3:15. I received an email from the folks at the Elks Lodge. They will be having a Flag Day celebration Monday, June 9th in front of the Elks from 6 to 8 p.m. and that's open to the public. Yes, sir.
Just a quick question.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I just have to finish my commissioner comments. Sorry.
okay.
I thought it was about something I said. Sorry. And the other thing, just to be mindful of, is we spoke about it a little bit this morning. There are a lot of resolutions and direction and statutes that are in place for Atchison County that were here prior to many of us sitting in these seats or leaders of the county. And so it is our job to ensure that we're being consistent and having conversations with everyone in regards to that. So just full transparency, we were following up on our road right away. When we plow snow or mow, we encounter items that are in our road right away that pose safety hazards or they don't allow us to fulfill our jobs that we should be doing. So one of the things that was brought up was the mailboxes, and that is within our road policy that's on our website. There's actually page 6 is all about the mailboxes. And so just to let you guys know, if anyone, I didn't realize there were letters sent out a couple years ago because someone had mentioned like, oh, is the county in the business of it, picking on mailboxes? Well, mailboxes in the right of way pose safety risks. We have to be consistent and we just have to follow policy. So just to read the last statement, it says any mailbox that is positioned to violate any of these guidelines shall be removed by the postal patron upon notification by the county. At the discretion of the county, based on assessment of hazard to public, the patron shall be notified and granted not less than 24 hours or no more than 30 days to remove an unacceptable mailbox. After the specified period has expired, the unacceptable mailbox will be removed by the county at the postal patron's expense. So this is the verbiage that was approved in 2023. So just a heads up, if anyone, mailboxes are part of the right of way as well. So if anyone gets a notice or a letter, obviously reach out to us and we want to work together to mitigate it. I know several people purchase homes and the mailboxes are already there, or, there's definitely different circumstances, but just to be aware of the conversations and some of the things we're striving to be consistent on. So, that is all I have for that. So next we have the First Judicial District and Walnut Township Treasurer. We have vacancies in both of those committees and boards. So the county clerk will be advertising those on our website and in the Globe for the next 2 weeks. And we will shoot to hopefully, oh yeah, thank you. I'll go back to that. Thank you for that. We will hopefully have letters of consideration for June 3rd. Does that sound okay with you guys? And then but both positions will stay open until fulfilled. So we'll put that in the wording of advertising. Does that sound okay with you, Susan?
I don't think we'll be able to hit the newspaper until next week.
Okay, so you want to do,
So-
so we'll consider
We
on
want 2
June
weeks.
10.
We want June 10.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right, and then we have May is beef month. So we have an Atchison County proclamation that I will read. Whereas the beef industry is a vital part of the economy and heritage of Atchison County, Kansas, contributing significantly to the livelihood of our farmers, ranchers, and the overall community. And whereas beef production supports local businesses, creates jobs, and plays a crucial role in maintaining the agricultural landscape of our county. And whereas the nutritional value of beef being an rich source of protein, vitamins, and minerals is essential for the healthy diet and contributes to the well-being of our residents. And whereas the beef industry in Atchison County is committed to sustainable practices, ensuring the health of our environment and the welfare of our livestock. And whereas it is important to recognize and celebrate the hard work, dedication, and contributions of our local beef producers. Now, therefore, we, the Atchison County Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim May 2025 as Beef Month in Atchison County, Kansas, and encourage all residents to join in celebrating our beef industry, supporting local beef producers, and enjoying the high-quality beef products they provide. I would look for a motion to adopt this Atchison County, Kansas Beef Proclamation as of May 20th, 2025.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. And while they are signing that, I will just acknowledge the folks that serve on our Atchison County Livestock Board. And thank you for doing your part to assist with this effort. Bill and Brandy Falk, Jim and Carol Hale, Jeff and Tiffany Hale, Jason and Anna Klepper, Jeff and Sarah Kramer, Gary and Meredith Lockhart, Nick and Carla Lockhart, Casey and Shannon Neal, Jacob and Jessica Reese, Mark and Linda Vanderweide, and the president of that board is Jeff Hale with a vice president of Nick Lockhart. Also, the Atchison County Farm Bureau Board that plays a vital role in this. And that is Wade Meeks, Mark Bodenhausen, Jay Armstrong, Anton Richard, Logan Kramer, Matt Young, Alan Cummings, Gary Hankey, Jane Halling, and the board coordinator, Mindy Young. So thank you to all of those folks that contribute to the beef process of. All right, thanks for backing me up there. Okay, so the next is, I would look for a motion to allow our road and bridge superintendent to propose the site plan to the City of Atchison Planning Commission as presented to us this morning. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. No second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye, passes 3-0. Okay, next we have Holly Hackathorn, the county appraiser, with a reappointment resolution, and I have the resolution. I just need to know the number, please.
Would be 1551.
Okay,
If adopted.
Holly, do you want to come up? So Holly is our Atchison County appraiser, and we value her very, very much for the job that you do. This is every 4 years. So our appraiser is appointed by the Board of County Commissioners, and they're appointed every 4 years by June, the term expiring June 30th. So we are ahead of the game this year, and I would look for a motion to approve resolution number 2025-1551, a resolution of the Board of County Commissioners of Atchison County, Kansas, reappointing Holly Hackathorn as appraiser for Atchison County, Kansas. Whereas pursuant to K.S.A. 19-430, the Board of County Commissioners is required to appoint a qualified individual to serve as county appraiser for a term of 4 years. And whereas Holly Hackathorn possesses the requisite qualifications to hold such office as set forth in Article 41 of Chapter 58 of the Kansas statutes annotated, and whereas Holly Hackathorn serves as county appraiser for Atchison County pursuant to the Atchison County Resolution 2023-1527 for the term expiring June 30th, 2025. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners desires to extend the appointment of Holly Hackathorn to serve an additional 4-year term. Now, so I would look for a motion to approve that resolution.
Also move. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Now therefore be it resolved, the Board of County Commissioners of Atchison County, Kansas, that Holly Hackathorn be and is hereby appointed as county appraiser of Atchison County for the term expiring June 30th, 2029, or until a successor may be appointed. Congratulations and thank you for the job you do for us. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have until 10:45, so roughly 22 minutes to discuss the County Lake meeting feedback discussion. I think that it's probably good if we start and kind of come to some consensus, and then if we have time left on the agenda, allow public comment, or should I let public comment first, maybe? I know many of you might just be here to see what we determined today because you've been to several meetings and you're just following up, but there's some new faces, and I'm sorry, I think you wanted to speak. Is it in regards to this topic?
Yes.
Why don't you come on up and you can sit here and talk into the microphone and tell us your name and your thoughts on that? That'd be wonderful.
Okay, I'm Scott Howard. I've been a Atchison County resident for 23 years now. And I'm only about 2.5 miles from the Atchison County Lake. I wasn't really aware of what all was going on until about 2 weeks ago. But my question was one, I had heard, that dam there holding back the water was beyond repair. I mean, is that the main focal point of why we're,
We haven't determined that yet, so I'm not sure where that's coming from.
Okay.
We
Not
didn't-
beyond repair, it's just in disrepair.
disrepair?
Right, it's
Okay.
closed because the surface needs to be
Mm-hmm.
resurfaced. It's not safe to drive on, but. Yeah, that's just one of the
Okay.
issues, but yes,
I was curious about that. And then if it's a funding thing through the county, I was curious, did anybody contact the Corps of Engineers? Because they spend a lot of money and they're always looking for places to put it when it goes to good use and big projects. And it doesn't cost the county as much and they do all the work. 'Cause a lot of us still use it. I take my family and my grandkids out there to fish. And being that close, I know we're kind of in that forgotten area of Atchison County, being clear over there in the northwest corner, but that's the one thing that we have without coming clear to Atchison, to fish. And it's a quick trip for us to be able to get out there and be able to spend the day without driving an hour. But that was my main thoughts on that was, whether anybody contacted the Corps of Engineers because they do a lot of projects like that. They did our shooting range in Horton, several years ago, and we used the heck out of that.
yeah.
So that was my thoughts.
Thank
And
you.
that's
Thank
just
you
what I
so
wanted to
much.
present.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
thank you.
appreciate you coming. Thank you. Mr. Curry, did you have anything or?
Let's see. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you bet.
My name's Nelson Curry. I've lived in Atchison County for well over 40 years now, raised a family here. My main concern when I became aware of the pending decision on the future of the county lake. Many years ago, I worked for a small, maybe a year or so, for the county appraiser's office as a field appraiser. And that's when I first became aware of the lake and as I was doing some work out there. But long story short, it's kind of a jewel in an area of intense agriculture. Uh, the county and the state as a whole is very short on public ground where the general public can utilize it at their desires. I myself and my family and friends have for many years hunted and fished out there. And I would just hope that the commission would look at the future and future generations and ensuring hopefully that there is a small piece of public ground that the public can be able to utilize. I'm not sure what started. I'm still in the education of this issue, and I'm not sure what brought this about at this point in time. But that's why you come and listen and learn. And but my feelings lean definitely towards preserving it for future generations and something that everybody is made available to. And I would hope that the commission would take that under consideration.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to say anything? Okay, yes, sir. Come on up.
Hi, my name's Dennis Ross. Been a Atchison County resident for 30 years. I live just 3 miles south of Horton. I was a barber in Horton for 43 years. So I got a lot of feedback on the Atchison County Lake. I know it's a Brown County residents mainly, but they use it. A lot of them. I mean, I can't repeat what they were because it's been 43 years, but it's been a bunch. So people do appreciate the place to go and fish, camp out, whatever. It's well used. I own the farm on the, below the spillway, 160 acres there. It's an inconvenience to have the gates closed to check fields. We farm all around there. I don't farm anymore. I retired a year ago. But the guys that farm it, basically we had to go a mile north, a mile east, and then about 3 miles north and 3 miles back west and down south just to get to the field, because of the bridges. So whereas when the spillway was open, we could cross it. We didn't cross it with grain trucks, full or nothing like that, but it was very convenient for us. Now it's a major inconvenience, but we're just one spot too. So, but just wanted to give you my thoughts, but it's a well-used lake. I'm out there all the time.
Thank
So,
you, sir.
You bet.
Appreciate it. Mrs. Drum.
Hello, Commissioners. My name's Cindy Drummel and I live south of Lancaster. I don't own land around the lake, but I've spent many hours there with my family when I was a child growing up. And my kids, we went camping out there. And I emailed you all. I don't know if you saw my emails, but I know the lake has been kind of lax in the upkeep in it, but I do think there's an opportunity that it could be brought back to the life that it used to be. I'm married to a farmer. And I've always been told since I married him, land, hang on to it, because they're not making any more of it. And once you let go of it, it's going to be gone. And I would hate to think that the county can't look at a bigger picture, get out and talk to more of your constituents that have elected you to represent them and see how they feel about it. I don't want to get emotional, but it just seems like there's not much in the county anymore that you can go do. We don't have a bowling alley. We don't have that. We have ball fields, but not everybody goes and plays ball. So the lake is something I think that could be brought back. And I'm not saying we're going to have camp zones like some of these big lakes do, but we could have some facilities that would make people want to come and even dry camp. We used to do that when I was a kid. We didn't have bathrooms in our campers or tents. So it's just a thought. Just remember, we sell it, we'll not get it ever back. And land, like I said, my husband's told me they're not making any more of it. Thank you for reading my emails and thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, anybody else? Okay. All right. What do you guys think?
Well, throughout the process, we've had some really good ideas come in from the folks that live out in that area. I think it's worth considering. I think and we hold their feet to the fire. So I have one particular person who I'd like to see chair a committee. He's sitting right over there. Had some really good ideas. So if we agree that we're going that direction, I think the three of us, of course, need to set some ground rules of what they would look like. But yeah, I'm encouraged by the folks that have stepped forward and offered ideas and their time and their effort to do it. But definitely, I'm of the mind that we, that we keep a close eye on the progress and that we get feedback on progress. Because as Commissioner Knoll mentioned during the meeting, some of these issues with the lake are pretty costly. And so it's more than just sweat equity that we're talking about. Corps of Engineers, grants, whatever, can be researched and brought into this, I think would make a huge difference of what we're talking about, because it's, and the possibility of maybe some ideas of camping spots, whatever. It doesn't have to be this huge change in what we've had over the last, 80, 90 years, but it needs to be, it's an idea that you need to look at, how can we bring some revenue without destroying the lake? Because you don't want to destroy, you don't want to just, bring in so many people that you can't control. But I think it needs to be looked at too, that option of, okay, how can we increase revenue? How can we maybe put some kind of fund or endowment or something that, down the road that we have a way to fund the upkeep, and it doesn't get into this condition again. And it's not necessarily a burden on the taxpayer, that it maybe generates its own funding. So that's my thought.
I thought the meeting went well. I've heard a lot of good suggestions. I'm open to having a committee investigate whatever they need to, where they would like to see the future of it go. Of course, that will depend then on whoever's commissioners at that time. I think part of the thing about also having a committee, I think we would need to set aside that they have a reasonable amount of time to not only investigate things, but have a expectation of kind of filling out the beginnings of it to actually investigate how that would, not just an idea, but try to maybe go further into setting things up. So if you're gonna, an idea to collect funds is totally different than actually put it into place and actually collect it. So, I mean, I would like to see maybe a couple, maybe like 2 years of like, see where we're at in 2 years, and then see how the committee is working, what the ideas are, give them some time to kind of fill it out, to see what that would then look like. And which we all know how quickly time passes, and you just can't look up something and 6 months later be doing it. So also we have to be mindful that we can't say, well, we're gonna go 5 years down the line. Well, we can't hold the next commission, whoever's on here, to something 5 years from now. So I'm kind of suggesting 2 years because it'll be kind of the next form of whoever runs or whatever. And that would kind of give some time for a investigation and how that would look. I think some of the things, I'm not saying would I prefer or anything, there's one mode of thinking about trying to bring it back and have all of this camping and everything. I don't really see that vision is quite fits in with the hunting and then the natural quietness and pristine and the nature thing. So I think that's part of where the committee is going to have a problem is, what do we want this to look like? Do we want it just to be like a nature preserve? Or do we want to do something commercial and have more things, buildings, facilities? So, I don't necessarily see them working together. I think it's kind of be one direction or the other. So that's just my thoughts on what I've read, from the people that were here during all of our meetings. So, and right or wrong, I'm just telling you my thoughts.
So just to kind of summarize that, because I agree with what both of you said wholeheartedly. So in order to give direction and call for a motion, basically what I'm hearing is we are tabling any discussion of selling the lake for 2 years. We're appointing Ian Saxton as the committee chair to create a committee with a plan. Now, do we want to hear back on what that plan looks like? Because in my opinion, they're going to create a plan and the county is going to be a pillar of what that plan looks like and how that we will interact, and be a part of it. So do we want to give any type of a timeline of circle back, you know, so that they can come with a preliminary plan and keep the ball rolling.
Yeah.
I think that would maybe be a good idea. Maybe, I don't know what July. That would give a full month of planning. Maybe I should lean on you of just an initial plan, right? Because you're gonna have to kind of,
Well, I
About
think we're
60
gonna,
days, about 60 days.
60
I,
days.
I would kind of like quarterly updates, and this is just shooting from the hip.
Quarterly
Right,
updates.
right now today, we can discuss this further down the road. But
I guess my thing is more of, we're gonna have to decide parameters of, how many is gonna be on the committee, who's gonna be on the committee, how we select them, and things like that, so that might take a little bit of time to get,
well, do we want in?
well,
Or do we just want to appoint someone to head the committee and they create the committee? Because at the end of the day,
here's what,
they need to come back and give us.
yeah,
an
no, I
update.
agree with some of that, you know, but what I would like to see is, you know, Ian lead this thing, but I also would kind of like to get some, how do I put this? Maybe not folks that are right on the lake, you know,
Yeah.
get them involved also. So, just a combination of folks from around the area, not necessarily any specific place, but you know, just a good combination of folks from, with different opinions around.
but
And
do we want that to be Atchison County residents? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm hearing a
Yeah.
lot of stuff
Oh, yeah.
out of Horton, I don't want,
No,
but I mean, for
no.
the sake of the committee, they could attend. I mean, but you know, and put in input, but I mean, I think there needs to be some kind of template or something, a little bit from us to what we would like to see, or maybe even a little bit more, you know, direction.
Well, I envision it being small, starting out, and then creating a plan and then delegating, because there are so many people that want to help with this project. But with 30 of us in a room, it's hard to get a plan, right? So if we start with, you know, a core group, and I know Colonel Peterson had sent me some ideas of his planning. You two working together, develop a plan. I think you'll have, you know, standing room only of those who want to help in some capacity.
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
As a taxpayer in Atchison County, but I live outside of the county in Brown. You know, there's ones that own land in Atchison County, but they may not reside in Atchison County, but they own land and pay taxes. Would they be considered for that committee as well? So, or to be able to be on it or help with it?
So I'm just predicting that there will be a place for everyone. It's just determining what those places look like with a core,
I
you know.
just bringing it to your
Yes,
attention,
and-
because as I look around the room, I know that there's others that are the same way that I am, that, you know.
Yes, ma'am. And there's been
So-
people that have reached out to me since the meeting that I would like to funnel to the committee to say, you know,
Sure.
these people also. And I think, you know, a couple people put together a plan and then execute it out to
Right.
everybody. Everybody
Right.
will have a place to help, but.
Thank you. I just was.
Yep.
That was just a question.
Okay, so, tell me if I get any of this wrong, but I'm gonna look for a motion to table any discussion of selling the Atchison County Lake for 2 years. Appointing Mr. Ian Saxton as the chair of a committee, that he will develop and give an update to the commissioners in 60 days of the plan moving forward.
And work with us also.
Yeah.
Because we're,
And collaborate with us.
some of these, I don't know if there's gonna be any legalities or any of that, but
Yep.
yeah, we have to have some time also, so. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Does that work for you, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Right, so I look for a motion.
So move.
1 second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye passes 3-0. Thank you, guys. Thank you all very much. Appreciate you. All right, right on time. Look at us. Brian Oswald, Maintenance Supervisor, Lawn Mowing RFP for 2026 and Memorial Hall Roof
Thank
Leak
you.
Update.
Okay.
Yes, so, yeah.
It looks like you're
I
on.
haven't got anything on price for Memorial Hall yet for mowing. But if I don't know who, Josh took care of it last time down there. And so if we have to, before we get something set up, we'll take care of it for them
I
down
think they're gonna finish this
there.
year.
Okay,
with-
and then take
with-
it over.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then we're
well,
gonna have
good.
a plan in place
We're
with
good.
lease agreement and
Okay.
a writing for 2026, but in those discussions with you, we found out that we weren't doing the RFP anymore, so just making sure that we get things in motion to see what that looks like. And-
Yeah.
Okay.
And then as far as the roof, we're waiting on our roofer that is going to do the building at EMS. And he will inspect all our roofs. He'll catch the courthouse, the jail, Memorial Hall. We know we've got something in the very, very top up there that, a storm like last night, you would have thought would have brought a bunch in, but it didn't bring as much as we thought would have came in. So it's a very catchy wind and stuff to make it come in, and we just can't find it ourselves. So we'll let him inspect it and see what he says, and
It's
we'll
on
go from
radar,
there.
though. Yeah. I'm glad.
Uh-huh. And then
And-
we're spot checking this tuck pointing thing down there too. So we're trying to look and see what we really need to do down there.
We have water incursion out here last night.
Yeah, a little. We got that taken care of. So,
See the picture?
No, I didn't. I just,
I didn't.
I saw
Just a little
the
bit.
aftermath, which is
I think-
normal for a well like that.
yeah,
you know,
I think it
it's-
was a bird in the line. Cause when you know, when we were pulling it out last night, we ran the machine and probably 50 foot in, we finally got it unplugged. So we just kept pushing it, but yeah, we got it to about 11 o'clock last night. We were done.
See, I didn't know anything about it. I just seen his hands out here and I thought,
Well, that makes me feel better because you shouldn't know anything about it if I'm doing my job, right? We should just be able to tell you later, we got it fixed. So we do got it fixed.
I just had a quick question on, are we paying that company to inspect our roofs? Because
It's a courtesy.
Okay, because
Very-
K-Camp inspects them as well for us, right? Like. on our-
K-Camp inspects them too, but
Okay.
they do that just as an insurance adjuster, not so much a roofer. So
Okay.
this guy's a professional roofer. He does as a courtesy thing. He comes back to inspect his roofs that he's put on for us anyway, because we have a 20-year warranty on them. So he inspects them every year and I just ask him to do the others.
And the health department will be one of those as well.
The health department will
Yeah.
be one of those roofs.
Okay.
Some reason I had community corrections in my head. It won't be community corrections. So, but the health department, yes.
Okay,
And it's in better shape than most. I mean, you know, you'd think that one would be one that we'd have an issue with, but the
it's
rest,
been there a long time.
yeah. Mhm. But so far, you know, everything's been good on it.
Good.
So we'll
Awesome.
keep an eye on it.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And
All right, so Corey Scott, EMS Director, has sent the commissioners the April 2025 EMS report, showing the 911 responses, transfers, standbys, times. So I would look for a motion to receive and file that report as presented.
second, I don't
You
think
need-
I've seen that.
Hold on, I'll tell you
When
when it
that
is.
was, when was that school?
Hold on one second. My inbox. Corey sent it Wednesday, May 14th at 1 o'clock. I can forward it to you. That's easier.
There it is.
Find it.
Yeah, finally. Okay, yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Okay, next we have Stacy Waggle, Solid Waste Director, with a consideration of PO for the Hotsy pressure washer.
Yeah, it's, I've got a requisition here for DSG Equipment and Supplies out of Kansas City for a hot seat presser washer for, it's what we use to clean the floor, power wash the floors with. the one we're replacing is 27 years old, so it's time.
Yeah.
We did price around and this was the best price we could get.
All right, I would look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by our solid waste director to DSG Equipment and Supplies in the amount of $5,500 for Hotsy hot water pressure washer.
Is this in part of your budget? I mean, this was it budgeted?
It wasn't budgeted, but I can get it under capital outlay. Spend any out of capital outlay, yeah.
Make the motion.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes. Reads. While you're here, I just wanted to follow up because I had a constituent ask me last week, hey, did you ask about being able to assess, and you and I had talked, and then Mr. Henderson provided 2 statutes. Basically a constituent that lives along 286, first of all, wants to say thank you so much for the manpower out there keeping that road clean. Like they've seen a huge improvement from what it was before we focused our efforts on that. But then just most recently saw the mattress on the side of the road out there and just frustrated with people going out there without tarped loads. And so they asked me, well, if Stacy's out there, can she see him pull up without it secured and be able to do some type of assessment, you know, or something? And basically it boils down to no. The statutes, like there's 2 primary ways to initiate a case. Actually, Mr. Henderson, can you just summarize what you sent to us? Just so the public knows, like, we can't just arbitrarily start ticketing people at the scale.
I don't remember the 2 statute numbers, but there's one statute that's part of the road regulations, just the same statutes that have speed limits and requirements for turn signals and things like that also require that somebody hauling loads have to arc them so that things won't fall off. And the failure to adequately tarp is a traffic infraction, and it can be prosecuted the same way as any other traffic violation. That's usually with an officer, a law enforcement officer seeing the violation and writing a ticket. It could also be done through the county attorney getting a report about a violation and filing a case and pursuing it. And the other statute involved a more intentional type of conduct of criminal littering, which requires intentionally dumping something where it's not supposed to be, some trash. And you know, it's kind of hard. You can't really tell when you just see a mattress on the side of the road how it got there, whether it was intentionally placed there, whether it fell off the back of the truck and was traveling. Wouldn't you ordinarily be able to tell who left it there, who's responsible? And that's going to be a major concern thing with these. We're trying to fix it with these things. If we're trying to put responsibility back on the person that caused the problem, knowing who that person was and being able to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt is a challenge that we're always going to have. So I don't know if that meets the summary that you were.
No, absolutely. And good perspective from Stacy too. Is if you tell them you're going to assess some type of penalty, they're going to turn around and go dump it somewhere else in the county. We don't want it dumped. Like, it's better to, you know, which was a really good perspective because we've seen that happen, right? And like now that we're making headway on that and having places for hires and working with people, like it's been better. So no, thank you. That will answer his question when he watches our meeting, and appreciate you. All right, so I will put this in to be scanned in, and thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so next we have executive session, attorney-client, 20 minutes. Road and Bridge Superintendent and County Council. Anybody else? Was that? Okay.
It's different. That's a different. Here it is. I'll move. Right, client.
Yeah.
I'll move the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session. 10:55. Are we going into it or no?
Yeah.
I'll move the county commissioners recess into executive session at 10:55 AM for consultation with an attorney for the public body which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship as allowed by K.S.A. 75-4319 B2, and that the purpose of the closed session is to protect the confidentiality of the discussion, and that the board come out of executive session in 20 minutes in the commission room in the courthouse basement, and those present will be 3 commissioners, road and bridge, county council, finance.
We're gonna have a quick executive session, about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So you want us to leave?
Yes.
Sorry.
I noticed you didn't read our names.
Okay, I'll second. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Oh, she's back to tell us that. All right, we are back in open session. We're gonna extend that executive session 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to extend 10 minutes, same parameters, same individuals involved.
I'll second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Okay, we are back in open session. We have Joe Snyder, Road and Bridge Superintendent with Design Services Agreement for Ottawa Road, Construction Engineering Agreement 290 Bridge, 290 Bridge, sorry. Proposal for grading at new shop and culvert analysis for 29.8-C.5.
They're not here, so how you want me to do that?
Design Services for Ottawa Road.
Okay, so, we are wanting to go another 2 miles if budget allows. On Ottawa Road, starting next spring. Swab Eaton has a, proposed an amount of $156,000 for the preliminary plans, and last year on the 2 miles, I believe it was 170 something. So it's a little less because the drainage structures aren't as big. They will be doing hydraulic studies on the drainage structures we have. If they need to be bigger or different than what we have, the county is going to be putting those in because there's no big ones. I think a 4 foot by 4 foot is the largest. So
They want to do. This is different than last.
this is, yeah, it's the next 2 miles. It's the next 2 miles.
We haven't initiated.
No, because for us to move forward with possibly bidding 1 or 2 more miles, we have to have an engineering plan on the road agreement, and it explains the services. And then the like when the preliminary plans, we pay them 55%. Submittal of final plans will be 40%, and it explains all of that in it.
Thank you.
But that would be the surveying and staking and the full set of plans. And whatever we decide, whether the budget allows us to go 1 or 2 miles, there'll just be one bid. We won't be in the situation we were before with the big culverts.
Okay. So they'll outline what their suggestion is,
Mhm.
and then
Then they have the whole layout for when they put everything out to bid for the next 2 miles or one, whichever we decide to go with. And it'll all be laid out. If we only go 1 mile, we'll have this for the next year if budget allows us to go next month.
And are any of these we're able to put in or no?
We should be able to take care of all the drainage structures.
Okay, so we won't
Yes.
put those out to bid.
No,
We'll just have them engineered and they'll make sure we're doing it.
we're doing
better.
it to specs.
Wonderful. Okay. All right, you guys have any other questions before I call for a vote? Do we know the project number? You want me to enter this stuff?
I would put just phase 3. Because we have a phase 1 and a phase 2. This would be phase 3.
Entered on this. Okay. All right, I would look for a motion to approve the contract for engineering services by consultant for the agreement entered into this 20th day of May between Atchison County and Schwab Eaton for phase 3 of Ottawa Road. Do I have a motion in the amount of $156,000?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0.
All right, and the second one is for Bridge 290, the construction engineering. We will pay 15%. We will be reimbursed 85% from the state of Kansas. And in the amount construction observation and related work for a fee in the amount of $96,800 for Bridge 290.
That's the total.
That is for the inspections of the
Okay, and
construction.
we'll pay 15%.
We'll pay, we have to pay
Upfront.
it. We pay it and we will be reimbursed 85%.
That bad state.
Yes.
I would look for a motion to approve the contract for consulting services entered into on May 20th, 2025 between Atchison County and Schwab Eaton for the purpose of construction engineering services for the improvements on the Atchison County Bridge number 290 bridge replacement project 3.5 miles north of Atchison on 314th Road over Deer Creek. Do I have a motion to approve? Oh, and the amount of, sorry, I should say that too. 96, maximum fee of $96,800.
So. And that project's bid out and it's supposed to start September 1st.
September
2nd.
Okay, and have we notified those folks? What's the plan with?
They're gonna drive, they'll still be able to use the old bridge.
Okay, wonderful. So they know that's coming and, okay. Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0. And the Historic Society, did we tell them?
Oh, yeah, we have
Okay.
things that we have to do.
Okay, I was just gonna
Yeah.
say for the hut down there.
That,
and-
so well. I guess I was thinking the historic part of the bridge we have to leave.
Oh, I was thinking
Yeah,
of Kathleen here
so-
for his, he does.
They can still they'll still be able to get through.
Okay.
That road will, that's why, we have purchased the right of way to put it on the north side of the bridge so that everyone could still access where they needed to. This third one is an agreement with Schwab Eaton for the preliminary grading and drainage for the new shop facility. Preliminary grading drainage, gather available public and private utility information, develop a base map, boundary survey and ownership. The owner provide elevation information. I've done that. Draft proposed master plan into the base map, perform preliminary drainage assessment and proposed improvements. Develop preliminary storage management for the entire master plan, design an outlet structure for a storm water detention pond. Develop a rough grading plan for the entire master plan, perform earthwork calculations, produce a preliminary grading and drainage plan to review with the owner, revise the grading and drainage based on owner review comments, and submit preliminary plan to the City of Atchison project approval. And there's, I mean, I can read if you want to read these or you want me to continue reading. But it's basically getting all the drainage set up and it would be in accordance with the City of Atchison and KDHE. And I didn't tell you the amount, sorry about that. It's in there, I believe it's 15,000, but
And this was not part of BG.
no. Because when we were, that wasn't part of their civil part. They had a big $60,000 worth of civil, and this is something I did on my own.
Need that back.
It just needs a signature on it because
Oh, I didn't.
I didn't say the amount, did I?
No, and I was trying to see if it was in. There it is. I see it. Okay. So I look for a motion to approve, the Rob Eaton new shop for Atchison County Road and Bridge. Scope of services, to be the preliminary grading and drainage. By June 6th of 2026. Is that,
It's gonna be right away,
okay,
right away.
okay, 'cause I was like,
I
whoa,
have to have my,
it says 26.
does it, I missed that.
Okay,
It's the proposal. He will,
25.
yeah, he will start as soon as,
complete construction documents June 20th, I assume 2025.
yes,
And then the bidding July of 2027,
it's supposed to be
2025.
5, yes.
Do you mind if
I'm
I?
sorry, no,
you're
that's
good.
fine.
Can I scratch that and then
Yes.
make sure that we know it's? In the amount of $15,000 for a lump sum. Do I have a motion to approve? I will second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion passes 2-1.
All right, the culvert analysis for 29.8-C5. So I was instructed last week to give a hydraulic study done. And this is in a nutshell, what has been proposed by Schwab Eaton. They think that it would be best to use two 65-foot by 108-inch corrugated metal pipe or a 3 70-foot by 96-inch to replace the existing bridge. So that's where I came up with my figures of approximately that would cost about $82,000. And here is the study from Schwab Eaton. It has cross sections, it has the whole hydraulic study. There also was a big plate culvert that we could have done, but it would have been a lot more money.
Now, the culverts go in. Would the roadway then be approximately the same height as the
No,
bridge deck?
Yes, that's
Okay.
that's what we're trying to do. We have to have so much cover over the top, and then the culverts have to be a foot below the bottom of the creek bed.
Because I know that Mr. Funk had said that they were, if it was a low water crossing, it wouldn't work because of
Yeah,
the water.
no.
Because I had never thought of maybe the elevation.
Yeah, no, the elevation showed off the road height.
And so we've completed the hydraulic study. We got the amount back for a culvert. solution of 82,000 and then discuss with them a cost share of like a 50-50. Okay, so when do we want to schedule that? Workshop next week or
Yeah, I would say as soon as ASAP, so as soon as possible.
next week, okay, for a work?
Yeah.
You wanna just,
We're gonna have
Do it
discussion
like-
now or?
well, I said, did you girls have anything to, have you
guys consulted with Voltages?
No. And in fact, when I talked to John, he wasn't sure of who the point of contact would be even, and you might know that.
Well, I discussed it just because I have to see Dennis and
Oh, good, good.
out by there, and it was after the bridge closed, but. And I'm not speaking officially, but from our little conversation, from what I understood and translated to them, because. You know, they were kind of caught unaware, you know, I think they know the bridge was shut, and I saw them like the next day or two later. But they seem to be in agreement with Homer thinking, you know, that. Well, they give it back. Cause they use that property or that bridge. Also, you know, they
Nice.
adjoining property.
took it at 33 and third?
George.
No. Dennis and Annie, might be Annette, I don't, I had Dennis's number at one time, but, I don't have any phone numbers. And that is their land that's. Right, yeah.
The approach to the bridge, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think the bridge itself is on.
Right,
It's
roughly
on-
82,000 on
Voltages,
here.
yeah.
I would put a rough estimate, or however you understand what.
When you said cost share. Are you talking, well, like you said, it's on Baldridge's land. Or,
It's in the road right away right now, but for us to be able to do anything with the bridge. For us to get any cost share on another replacement, the crossing would have to go south of the bridge.
Okay. I don't know if you heard that.
no,
If you understand it, okay.
I'm sorry.
There has been some discussion about the cost of replacing the bridge. And one way to maybe do it a little cheaper is to relocate where a culvert would go instead of replacing the bridge exactly where it sits. And one of the things we've talked about would be to move it slightly south, so it would no longer be on the Voltage property, it would be on your property. And if we would do that, I think that those were the figures that he was talking about. Not replacing the bridge not replacing the bridge at all, but not putting the replacement culvert in the same location, but moving it slightly south.
when you say slightly, what are we talking about? How many feet? About
50, maybe.
Probably want to keep it as close to the bridge as we can. The thing is, we can apply to get cost share from the state for taking that bridge off of the inventory, and they'll pay us to put it toward another bridge in the county. But we cannot touch that structure until we're awarded that. And the deadline was May of this year, so we've missed that. So we won't apply again until May of 26. And we know time is of essence for a solution. And that's why we thought, well, if we put it to the south of the bridge and a culvert, regardless of the cost being a pro, it's also a pro for you guys in order to utilize your equipment and cattle, like it'll be bulletproof,
Nicer.
so to speak, yeah, than that rickety, bridge with the rotten piling, so, that's kind of where we're at as far as what we've came up with after doing the hydraulics study. And we have a copy of this for you guys, so you can see the study and.
Okay.
There's a recommendation
Yeah.
from the engineer. On the bottom.
Okay. Alrighty.
But if you guys are available possibly next week, to, come up and we can sit down and talk through all the things, so you have a clear understanding and Mr. Funk has a clear understanding and we're all on the same page, moving forward. What is next week, the 27th? Would you guys want to do that in the afternoon?
Mary,
Sorry.
you got a question mark on your face.
Okay. Well, I mean, how will they have access? There's going to be a right of way. I mean, how does a right of way line up on the south? Have you guys
That's
ever
what
been
I
back there,
know.
seen it on
Yeah.
site?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I know the road turns to the current bridge, so is the right of way to the south? Would we have to?
There's a little patch of
Yep.
ground there and that's Boulderton.
Yep.
And that right of way that runs right by that farm, a little Walnut Creek or whatever. I believe that's. Well.
So Boldridge is on both
it
sides of the
is
road.
like right there, on the road, and cause I know there have been times when it's like. Oh, say like the road was messed up or people that
Mhm.
were probably trespassing or aren't that familiar, that. They were really tearing that ground up, I'm like, God, if I was Boulderge, I think I'd be really
Yeah. No.
upset, and I think they finally did say something, but it's just kind of strange where.
How it curves over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's-
we'll double check that if we put that tube on the south, that we have that figured out.
I
And
was gonna say you would make a new road to the culvert, or would we have to do that?
well, it's a township road, but the culvert, like right now, when you go in and curve to the bridge, it would basically be more straight ahead, like to the south, if you're putting it on the south side of the
Right.
bridge.
And I think any construction would probably be on. Might have to
Most-
be on Boulderge's property, I don't know,
Do you have their contact info, Pat?
I don't.
Do you have their contact info, Mary? You just ran into them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And John didn't have it either.
Okay.
So,
I
Yeah.
have a mailing address in Pat City, Missouri.
Yeah, there's that's a thing up here.
well, I think he lives in Leavenworth, but Annie's the owner. Maybe on Facebook, you might find Brenda Boldridge, I know people who Facebook a lot of Brenda. Or Annie, Annette, I don't know.
If you know them and you're able to get any contact info and pass it on to us, that'd be wonderful. Because
Okay.
otherwise we have that mailing address we could try to send.
Might be a note stuck on their camper or something. I'm not much of a Facebooker, I don't
Is that
fool around with technology.
Annie, or you said Annette, is that still Boldridge?
Yes,
Is it Annette, Annie?
we call
That's
her,
her nickname.
But her name is Annette.
yes. But it's named next.
And so do we want to set a time while they're here for next week for a workshop? Do we have budget hearings next week?
Yes, from 1 to. Yes,
1 to 1:30?
no.
Okay, sorry. I was just curious to, unless,
Yeah, that's fine. So they know.
yeah,
You have one at
Sure,
12:30,
you guys-
one at 1:30.
are mornings or afternoon better for you guys?
Doesn't matter with me.
After,
I can't think of anything right offhand.
Probably morning's better for John, like mid-morning, probably.
let's just do 9. I know
Yeah,
that's
if
the,
That's not too early, 9 o'clock. Is that, you want 9 o'clock work?
Well, I don't know if he's feeding cattle or, no, I don't think they're feeding anymore. are
I'm not.
Probably on grass.
they? That's what I was thinking,
Well,
so
they ain't good with their
probably
grass.
9 would probably work.
Okay,
Well, I would think if there's something.
well, if something comes up for you,
Kids could probably
I told John that I would call him after this meeting with an update. So I'll make sure 9 works for him. If 9 works for you guys, we'll just shoot for 9. We'll see you next week at 9.
Yeah, I think Janice will not be here, but that's.
And Mary, I think you brought up, you said that the Bouldridges also use this bridge. Do they have property to get to on the other side or?
Okay. When you, are you familiar with that bottom at all?
Only came in one time from that side. so-
Okay, that road that you come in. That patch of ground there is Bouldridges.
Mhm.
So, you know, and then, of course, there's a fence line when you get further back on our property, you know, and it adjoins somewhere back there.
So they actually do have property on the other side of the creek. Okay.
The other side of the bridge, south.
Well, I was,
Had that little. piece.
Yes, they do.
so he's.
They do.
Yeah,
That road runs through their property.
yes, and
They have right away on both sides of that road.
when it first collapsed. That's
Is that
been what,
field there
year and a
then,
half ago,
on the other side of the
I
bridge?
hadn't retired yet.
Well, so
But,
see how it turns the bridge.
We
That would
discussed
be the
that or
corner.
talked about that, and Dennis said that he got a call. From the county and he doesn't know who it was he talked to, and they asked him if he. Uses that bridge or uses that property or
Recently?
the road or what. This was when it first collapsed, that first collapse.
Just recently, like with the combine?
A couple of years ago, yes.
Okay.
And
someone has
he said
contact
somebody
info.
called him, they just said it was Atchison County, they just wanted to know if he used that bridge. And if he would, you know, if he wanted to fix or repair it or
Did you call him?
whatever.
I might have talked to
And
him.
he's like,
Do you have his contact?
think-
he said, he told him yes. And he says that was the end of it, that's all that.
Okay, well, somebody should have his contact.
So, I
info
mean,
then.
they. How often they use it? I don't know, you know, but.
They don't have their horse trail anymore, do they? Cause they've been.
Well,
except
there's
for
still
that.
horses down there.
So the road comes
And I'm
in
not sure who takes
to the-
care of that, if it's
the
Leonard.
bridge right now.
I talked to someone
So they
who
just
said
gotta
they
see
checked
where they're-
fence on the other side of the bridge.
So it comes in right now and it comes
on
over
the
here.
property,
So if we're putting it
That's the
straight
Floyd
next
house
to
is
it,
gone.
it
That
will
house is
see
gone.
that little, it will be Bouldridges.
The horses are being.
I talked to
Yeah.
somebody, one of the
There we
older
go.
ones, that said that they checked their fence on
Yeah.
the side of the bridge.
Okay.
Yes.
I do remember that, but
Okay.
I don't have a contact. I don't know how.
My fault.
Which he probably went over the bridge
Yeah.
along Funks and
He
checked
checked
the
his
fence.
fence.
Yep, that would
Yeah.
make sense. Okay. All right, well, thanks for coming, girls, and yeah, we will.
So I'll tell Boulder just about this 9 a.m. session
That would be wonderful.
too, if they can make it.
Yeah,
Or shares that.
Tuesday? Is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
Next Tuesday.
yes, ma'am, the
night?
27th.
Yeah, I saw that on the agenda and I thought. I think that's. The bridge.
think that's my number.
So I like to go and hear things.
Yeah,
I may
no,
not understand it all, but I just like to hear things firsthand.
yeah, no, absolutely. We
Myself.
appreciate you guys coming very much.
So, yeah, I'll take a little trip down there and hack something on their vehicles or something.
Okay.
Okay, if nobody's around.
Thank you.
So, yeah, the house is gone, so, okay.
Okay, thanks, girls.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
All right,
Thank
thank you
you.
all very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay. Okay. Next, we have zoning and planning meeting discussion. So just wanting to touch base with you guys. I think it on the whole topic, right?
Yeah.
Because we're holding a public meeting, and I think that everything happens so quickly that I feel like we need to have an outline or some preliminary information to be able to share.
Yeah.
Because like the feedback I've got is, what does that mean? Like, what does that look like? You know, and having what that looks like, what that could look like, and then, you know, it's really nice going into another public meeting right after the county lake of like how that would be handled. Susan was able to get approval for the large courtroom, so we can have it in the courthouse
Okay.
with more seating versus this room. And I think Scott appreciated that versus trying to go offsite to another location. And since we've already put the public notices out that will be in the courthouse, I think it's best just to stick with that methodology. But
How much seating's up there?
I have to go up and look, but when we did the Republican canvas, I mean, there's you know, you fit what, 12 people per row, and then the side seats, and I mean, I don't think you'll ever be able to guesstimate how many people will come, right? Like, I don't know if it'll,
I think,
you think a lot of people will come?
I think so.
So, okay, so let's talk through that, because I like to be prepared, right? Because this is a topic that I'm not educated in as well, and I'm trying to read up on it, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can. But when they start asking questions, I feel like I'm not gonna have the answers. So what I guess I'm trying to say is if we could outline what this meeting's going to look like, right? Like if we give a synopsis of where we're at in discussion and then allow them to come up and say, you know, yes, I'm for zoning because of X, Y, and Z. No, I'm for zoning, not for zoning because of X, Y, and Z, or I don't know where I'm at because I don't know X, Y, and Z. Like, I guess that would allow us to, it's like more informational gathering to know what we need to know to be able to help educate the public. And I guess, you know, from what were given so far from last week and reading these, the planning, appointing a planning commission or a moratorium. I had question for you, Pat, on a moratorium. I was talking to the folks in Brown County about how they got to February of 25 when they enacted their limited zoning, one zoning area based on wind. It started 4 years ago with a moratorium. So I guess I'm just trying to understand if the county commission did a moratorium for wind, solar, and quarries, or whatever that looks like, right? To learn more about it. But then also, I don't know if the constituents even want that, right? Because here's the hard part is protecting you from something like the health and safety of quarries or wind or whatever, protecting you, but then also having the right to do with your land what you want. They don't marry up when you, so I guess what I was just trying to learn, because from the conversations I had there, it was different in the fact they put a moratorium on wind because they knew it was coming to give them time to learn. And it took 4 years of a community-wide effort, basically, to learn, go to meetings, work with legislatures, do all the things they needed to do to then come to the board and say, you know, this is what we want. We want to zone against wind. And now they're doing their due diligence on, you know, other things that they wish they would have. So
Just to be completely transparent, I spoke with Commissioner Heinen
nice.
yesterday. And he was pretty specific. I got into the weeds of it with him, and so there's more to it. So I don't know how long the process, you're saying 4 years. He's only been part of it for 4 months as far as the commissioners goes. But yes, there was that group you're talking about that was against the wind energy, Blade Watch, I think they called it. But he said they contacted a lawyer outside and they ended up doing a survey. And that cost 50 grand. But what it did was it brought back a 2-to-1, no, we don't want wind energy. So then after you've got that 2-to-1, they went ahead with the very targeted wind energy, only one district, you know, and it was pretty simple. And to your point, well, I think they might have done what do you call it? Solar also, solar farms or whatever. And that's how they ended up getting the public behind it was that, okay, if the survey says this is what you don't want, and we can do that with zoning. And so we are very specific. And but yeah, there's a little more to it. There was that cost to give them that assurance and give them, which we don't have. And frankly, we don't have, the wind energy isn't at the top of our, agenda anyway. It hasn't been. So that we would have to look at that, possibly look at what's the feel in the county, and then go from there. So I don't know, maybe I don't know if we're not ready for that conversation yet because we haven't done the legwork to get there. Because you definitely don't want, you want to have the information if you're going to have folks. And the other question is, you're always going to have those that say, okay, sure, you do this, but who says you're not gonna, you know, 2 cycles through the commissioners, and we're not gonna have a new group that wants to use that to do something else. So I think that's one of those questions or statements that anybody could make at any time when it concerning zoning. You could always come back and say, yeah, I don't trust anybody. So I'm just not gonna, I'm not gonna agree to it. But I think if there is a sentiment about wind energy, that's a place to start, but we have to find that.
And I think we might find that at the public meeting too, because there are a few people that bleed over into Brown County from Atchison County. I mean, I went to one of their houses for a meeting. There's
Okay.
Well, people that are worried about that. Was it your understanding that the 50,000 in the survey was their comprehensive plan?
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe it was a survey that focused on alternative energy, and then it had the way the commissioner put it is that it had some stuff that he was found odd, that, you know, some of the questions, but I think it had to do with how they formulated the survey, that they needed those other questions. But you know, to me, that kind of investment, if we were to do that, now ours would be more because theirs was, I think they have 9,000 versus our 16,000, but so it would cost us more to do that, but to me, and I could be wrong here, but that gives you, if you do that, that gives you that assurance that there is some I don't know how to put it.
Fine.
There is some buy-in, there is some interest in that specific zoning issue, or you know, trying to prevent wind energy from coming in and just taking over, you know. But yeah, if you had like a sheet, you know, with that on it, so a couple of specific items, as so when they sign in and do a little better than this next time, you know, have it lined out. No, that's fine. But you know, have it lined out so that name, address, and then the issues, the specific issues out to the right, just to so that we know of those who attend what their feeling is. And that's kind of an unofficial, you know, survey, whatever you want to call it. What are your thoughts, Eric? What do you think?
Well, I guess my thoughts on having this meeting is, I think we were caught to a place that we really needed to have a lot more publicity on this, because if we were presented with something new that came about, has a timeline on it, a possible solution was given to us that is on a subject that there has been, at least in mine, I think yours too, a resounding no from the public. And so in other words, to something I would not probably really consider myself, but because there is the health and welfare and everybody involved in that community, and there's been quite a few that would like to see that. And I think, on a side note, I think a lot of them would have never considered zoning until they have the one issue that comes before them that would push them over to a limited zoning possibility. I know, I think I've gotten a little bit of feedback that because we just didn't shut it down, it's like no zoning, no way, no how, don't talk about it, just say no, well, that I'm for it. Well, I'm not, but I think that we need to educate the public a little bit what our choices really are. And the choice was that, do we go down this road to achieve this one limited zone to keep the quarry out? But then almost in the next sentence you hear, well, there's the wind energy, there's the solar, there's the transmission lines, there's and even there's been discussion of zoning word has reared its head many other times with other problems with the everything from roads to properties, subdividing properties, culverts, all of these issues are, oh, what's the name of that? We were sending out the letters for the, nuisance ordinances, all of that, at some point, that word has come up, so there were all doors that are that much closer to being opened or possibility of open once you go down through that. So to me, it's like if we don't address the public, and right now when it's timely, it's like we have this way or we can go that way. And we need to have a talk about it. And maybe I'll be surprised. I mean, I'm going by evidence that I've gotten back, but by word of mouth. Maybe I'll be surprised and there's a lot more stomach for it, but I think we need to have that conversation. So that's my thing of allowing or wanting to hear more from the public, because I think it's going to be very well attended from anything that I think it will be much bigger than the lake discussion. And I can be wrong, but that's for sure. But that's the reason I am definitely open to hearing. So if we do nothing and a quarry comes in, and maybe it's too late, I don't know how. There's not, because we would go down that road, maybe we wouldn't be able to keep them out. It's not the sole reason for this meeting. But if we done nothing and there was nothing of consequence that we could point to say, see, we did talk about this. If there's anything that's negative in the future to say, well, the commissioners had an option and they chose to, they just shut it down. Well, I think it's worth having the discussion and let the public know what our options are now, instead of trying to tell them 10 years from now why we didn't do it.
Well, and that was my question on, so the moratorium on the wording. Can the wording, and maybe you just can't do a moratorium, but I mean, it says that we recognize there's a need basically to just explore, research, like not commit ourselves one way or another, but we just need time to know what the options are and be able to have that conversation with the county, and I think it'll feel good because it's coming down the pipeline. Anyone you talk to, even the ones against it, they're like, we know it's a way of the future. We know it's probably, but allowing them to know, like, whatever direction you guys want our county to go, like, we'll go. But now we just know that we've given the information that you need to know, that if something negatively affects you or positively affects you, like, it's out of our hands. And as far as like I printed the statutes that are within these two resolutions, but I'm definitely not an expert on statutes. When I go onto the website, if they're listed on the Kansas, does that mean they're active, Pat? Like, I guess there was one on 19-2957 that talked pretty in depth about what the Board of County Commission and a planning commission for a county looks like. And it got a lot deeper, and I just didn't know, but again, I'm not good at researching what I need to know for zoning, but I want to be prepared for the meeting. So
I like copies of those too.
yeah, here, I can make you copies. This is the one that, it talks about establishing a planning commission for the county, fixed number of commission, shall consist of not less than 9 or more than 12 members. Like, there's just pieces of it, but then it also talked about townships. So I was like, well, I don't know what I don't know. So I'm just trying to make sure if I'm reading something, it's right. If I'm not reading something, I should be. I just want to be prepared, because I feel like they're going to look to us, right?
Right.
I just came to this public meeting. Why am I here?
Yeah.
So if we're all, it seems like the summary of this is to let the public know that there was a situation, and the only way we could assist is with either a moratorium that leads to give us time.
Well, it leads to limited zoning, because without the zoning, we didn't have teeth the moratorium, which is gonna slow things down, and then honestly, if you're not seriously pursuing the zoning in that period, I mean,
Well, so that's my
kind of
question.
leaving yourself open for something, because you have to seriously make an attempt. If you, at least that's what I understood from you, right?
That's how I understand it.
Yeah, so you can enact a moratorium and we would have the right to do it because we know nothing. I don't know anything about this quarry coming in. I'm completely new to this and have no idea what to expect. And so it would be for me to explore what the impact is going to be, that would make sense to have that. Short of that, I don't know what they're bringing in, what they're doing exactly this quarry. And so that's the whole point of this. It's like get the constituency to come in and say, okay, we trust these folks to do a limited, targeted zoning just to protect us, just to protect the county residents. But yeah, I agree. Have all the information that we can possibly. And if we need handouts, that's fine too. We can throw together some handouts to explain what it is we're doing. And we have a county right next door that did something very similar and very, very limited.
That's what I was trying to understand, enacting zoning from a moratorium, because if they did the moratorium 4 years ago, that could have fizzled out. I mean, 4 years, the next people just don't know the conversation and so is there anything binding?
I think that's the case with any resolution, the next commission could rescind it.
Mhm.
Maybe not any resolution,
With a copy of that.
like we just appointed an appraiser today. I don't think the next commission could appoint her without going through a process, but for the most part, regulations can be changed by the governing body. And if there's a change in the governing body and a difference of opinion on what best promotes the health, safety, and welfare of the community, there could be changes to it. The issue of zoning comes up when it's typically comes up when a citizen comes to the county and says that there's about to be a catastrophe of some kind, that some land use is planned to come in that would ruin my quiet enjoyment of the property. And that could be in a whole bunch of different ways, and most of which I'm sure we're not even thinking about. But the big ones that have been mentioned were the wind farms and the solar farms and this quarry. If you do nothing, then those land uses would be allowed. And once they're established, it's hard to get them, they'll be there until their useful life is over, essentially. And if you want to do something to limit that, then zoning is a method of doing it. But the concern you get from the public is that if you have zoning, that means I have to get a permit to have to roast hot dogs on a grill in my backyard. But maybe there's some balance between those two points. The only way to get there is for study. You don't have to have a moratorium to consider zoning, and in fact, the moratorium might not be very useful in this situation, because I think the quarry is likely to have broken ground before you would take up the issue of the moratorium anyway. And if they've already done that, then they're going to have some vested rights in continuing the use of whatever land use that they're using. So.
Yeah, I think the moratorium would have to be passed today in order to prevent that.
Yeah, I don't know if they may have even started on it.
Um,
Do you have Do you have an idea of folks that are already on this Blade Watch that could be contacted?
Yeah,
for-
yeah, I went,
for-
Michelle and I went to their meeting. Scott and Jessica Gigstad would be, they're great. They hosted and they know they've been involved in them. And
They might want to be at this,
Mr. Gaskell too.
you know.
Yeah. I'll make sure and send them.
And
info.
if there's a letter floating around, I'd like to see that.
Oh, what?
If there's a letter going out to folks about this meeting or about the possible zoning.
Oh, I didn't know
I'd
there
like-
was.
I'd
I haven't
like
heard
to see it.
anything about it.
Did you hear that?
So I don't know if somebody outside is doing that or what. But I heard that there is a,
In favor or against?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't know, but I've heard that there's one floating around. So I didn't know.
Taking the land use conversation out and just as the Board of County Commissioners with new businesses coming to the unincorporated parts of the county. Can we put any guidelines in like we do with our road standards as far as like must register with us or get a haul route or like give us information about what you're doing? And I think it's important, right? Like when new businesses come in that we could welcome them with open arms and like know what's going on. Cause it seems like we never know till the end, like, and I just see development. So like in the industrial park, like there's planning, because it's through the city and the economic development driver, right? Like people are targeted and kind of having the discussions with the right people to bring them in. And I just didn't know if there's any way that, you know, we can enact something to give new businesses a step of how to start the communication so that we can be a team player too of like, we want to see economic development in the county.
But to be
No, I want a devil's advocate, give it to me,
devil's
let's do
advocate,
it.
well, I mean,
That's
I
part
think
of,
it probably the quarry wouldn't feel like they're welcomed with open arms.
no, I know, but there also haven't been any conversation with them and us, like,
But I probably,
They haven't felt
because,
the need.
well,
They don't have a need to do it.
well, they don't have
They
a
work
need
it
to
out
do it.
with the landowner and that's it.
yeah,
And we're opt out.
yeah.
So that's how it works.
Okay, I just,
So I'd
I
say it'd be a
didn't know
really-
if there's any way we could, like, so from the road standpoint, right, like. I don't care what industry you are, like, we plan, we have road plans, we have, you know, we do traffic counts and studies and how they're impacted and how we choose what we're improving and all the things. And knowing what traffic on there could be is also helpful, right? And like we just had that one of, would you consider helping with road improvements? Well, we didn't know and we didn't budget for it. So, you know, I don't know. Not land use regulations, but a way to give us a heads up of a new business coming to Atchison County, I guess is what I'm asking. If there's any way to put anything in place so we have a conversation to work with people on.
Not that I can see, that I
Okay.
can think of off the top of my head, but,
Okay,
I mean, typically that would be the person applying for a permit of some kind, but if we don't have any regulation,
Yeah.
no permit
okay.
for them to apply for.
Yeah, yeah. That's the argument that.
Yeah.
We're all. You know, that's what we're talking about actually is that. We just don't have any recourse. There's nothing and. Due to the long lasting mistrust and fear in government, that's where we are today because we just don't have. We have no recourse and I feel like we should. I feel like at the very minimum, you know, the county should have. Information on someone coming into our county and setting up shop, we should at least have. Knowledge of that, and right now we just don't. We don't.
Okay, do you guys have any other questions on, so I was thinking if we could do anything to prepare. I thought about asking like someone from the Kansas Planning and Zoning to come next week and give just a synopsis. But on their contact info, it shows they're in California, so I wasn't really sure what that was all about, so I nixed that idea, but I didn't know if you guys have any other ideas, because next week's our only meeting before the public meeting. So is there anything we want to do to set the stage, I guess?
Well, like I said, the group that was involved in the Blade Watch would probably have contacts and information on that end. I mean, I know you could go in and what were some of the names? You mentioned a couple of
Yeah,
Nextera and Vera or something like that were some names that could probably be Googled. As far as wind energy goes. You know, the question that would be asked most is why? Why do you want to? You know, what's the reason for zoning? And we have 3 examples.
But I get quite a bit of support. It's for, okay, they may not be everyone's cup of tea that, and maybe they don't like them or they just think they're unsightly, but yet they're more of a property rights. Like, I own this, why should the county regulate what I can and can't put on my, if it's not gonna hurt the wellness? Or I can understand when you get to a hog farm, if you've got the odors and things like that. If a wind farm, you do have opportunities to do setbacks, so they're not right across the road from a house, things like that. But I'm getting a lot of feedback that it's like, it's my land, I have it, I should be able to rent it to a wind farm if they want to pay me so much, and I don't have any idea what they get for those towers. I've heard some places it's pretty lucrative. Same way with a solar farm. You know, it's my property. I'm not gonna building it directly across the street from grade school, but you know, out here in rural Atchison County, most places you could build fairly easily without interfering with a too big area as far as site goes. So that's, I think, where a lot of the no on zoning too is it's their property rights that they ought to have the freedom of doing with their property, as long as it's not illegal or something that's you wouldn't want a lead mine or contaminating the drinking water, or you know, something like that. Even corporate hog farming at one time was the big push for zoning in like Iowa, where they had all of these big hog farms. But so that's kind of where my education about zoning is, and my stance too. It's like, that's where one reason I'm willing to hear. I'm sure there's a lot I don't know, but that's kind of the reading I'm getting from the public that I've got so far.
and when you say setbacks, can we initiate setbacks?
I don't know, does that need
Without
zoning? I thought we could.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably with. Probably, yeah. I mean, I think a lot of these things that go into land use and planning could be done piecemeal. I do. Having no experience ever formulating a zoning scheme, that's not the typically established way of going about doing it. The typical way involves having a grand study at the beginning of things on what do we want to see in land use planning. I don't know the answer to your question. I can research it, but I don't know if there's a. I can research it.
That was another question I had on,
We're very fortunate to have a wealth of knowledge and experience here with Mr. Denton. He made. And I,
The question was posed, some of the setbacks and things involved with, say, wind farms, if they were put out there. Could you piecemeal that together without zoning and have the same effect that's,
Well, that's actually a legal question because the state sets up an avenue by which you can initiate land use control. And that avenue is, the first thing you do is you appoint a body to oversee it. You have them do a comprehensive plan to take a look at it, and then you can enact as little or as much or none. But they generally look at it, the state has generally seen that how can you say that you should have to set these back and do this if you haven't taken a look at what your issues are in your county and how they're going to affect things. If you haven't comprehensively said, here's the way it's all put together. Now, so that avenue is one I'm familiar with. If there are other ways to make things illegal, that'd be in Pat's court. But as a general rule, and I've dealt with a number of counties in it where they do setbacks where, if you put up towers, one of the things almost in every zoning ordinance that I've ever seen is that if you put up a tower, that tower needs to set away from the neighbor's property at least equivalent to the height of the tower. So if the tower falls over, it's not falling on somebody else's house. That seems like logic, does it not? So you're putting up a tower in Leavenworth and you want to put up a 50-foot tower and you want to do it, you're going to have to be 50 feet away from the property lines.
Yeah, makes sense.
So it doesn't fall on somebody else's house if it comes down. There are just a number of things like that. So setbacks, when you say, gee, it'd be a great idea to set back 5 feet from the property line. Well, a lot of those are driven by things like fire codes. Within the city, houses have to be 10 feet apart because if they're not, then they have to do additional fire separation so that if one burns, the next one doesn't burn. We just witnessed this with California with the wildfires and any buildings that were close together. When one caught on fire, you burn a whole string of them down. Well, those kinds of things, there have been years of study, and I'm not suggesting getting you into all of this. All I'm saying is, as a general rule, the whole principle of land use planning and zoning and land use control is based on looking at issues and wanting to resolve those issues through preventing them from occurring. You just talked this morning about, issues that you said, well, what do we do about the ones that are already there? Well, maybe you can't do anything about those, or maybe you can you can rule them into what we call nonconformity. They used to call it grandfather clause, but when they say grandfather, they think that lasts forever. But you can rule them into what is considered nonconformity. And then you can say how long they can remain nonconforming before they're brought into conformity. You look at how do we do these things to protect our community from making more stupid mistakes going forward. And I can't tell you what those stupid mistakes are. That's why you have a group get together and study it and look at it and say, here's what we think. The issues, the quality of life things, the protection. There are two sides to all of these issues, and the two sides are restriction and protection. And nobody likes to have restrictions unless you're looking for the protection, and vice versa. And so I would have told you 10 years ago there'd be no support whatsoever. I'm going to tell you, I get just as many people coming through our office who are now saying, what kind of protection do I have? As I am getting coming through saying, what kind of restrictions do I have? Because the people who are looking at restrictions don't even come in. They usually just go ahead and do what they want to do, and then it's up to us to figure out how to tell them they've done something wrong. But at the moment, there are no rules. So, I mean, it's the wild, wild west. And not suggesting, I'm not suggesting the Wild West is bad. It's all a matter of your vision, but the public's vision of where they want things to go. And the more and more you see it, you could say, well, here's where we are. But you have had, from lack of subdivision regulations, you have had a lot of developments go up in the county where somebody will start selling off chunks of property, and they may sell off 4, 5, 6, 7 chunks of property, and people are building houses on them that, you know, at the time they may have thought they were $200,000 houses. Now they're $500,000 houses. And now they're protective of that stuff. They really want to know what's going on next door to them. And
Good point. That's a good point.
And I hate to say it, but when they come in here talking to you, it's an awkward conversation for all of you. I'm in here complaining about things, so it's just a matter of, I have always said, and I will always contend, I don't think good planning is a bad issue. I think planning is always beneficial, but I'm not trying to tell you where you need to be going. I'm telling you, if the planning motivates you in a direction, fine. But if you already know where you want to be, where you want to go, and that isn't what you need to get there, then don't go there. But
and the body puts the plan together, comes to the Board of County Commissioners with the plan. And then no, you can say no, like there's no zoning, like you're not bound to anything.
what would occur? Number one, you would appoint planning. They would, and you can appoint them with the directive of determining a direction, looking at the condition of the county comprehensively. Okay, they could do the study. The best they can do at that point is they look at the study. If they don't like the study, fix the pieces they don't like, get the community involved in the study, do all of those things. They want community input into that study. And then they recommend to you whether or not to adopt that study. If you don't adopt it, the comprehensive plan is not a viable part of anything. It's just money you've spent. Until you adopt it, it doesn't exist. Once you adopt it, then that becomes your guide until you do another.
Yeah.
And then anything that occurs after that, the planning commission, with very, very few exceptions, and you don't even have those to worry about right now, the planning commission is nothing more than a board that makes recommendations to you.
And help me understand, would the comprehensive plan be put together? You said community buy-in with only the folks in rural areas, or you would get community buy-in from the entire county? Because I'm trying to understand, and I got an email from a gentleman asking me, how will county zoning affect properties in the city? And I would assume it will not, because the city
There's
regulations are already in place.
They're already.
And so,
Well-
because this is a relevant part, because for my constituents that are in the rural area, they look at themselves as the minority because 16,000 people and 11,000 of them roughly are inside the city of Atchison. They're feeling like, they don't want, and that was the difference of Brown County too. Like I asked that question with the Brown County Commissioner. I was like, what's your rural versus urban population? And same with Mrs. Heinen, both of them said, well, it's roughly 50-50, if not a little bit more rural than, so that's a different equation than if we're surveying our county, 11,000 to 16,000 are already restricted with rules. So I guess I'm just trying to understand if you did a community buy-in, is it only the folks affected, only the rural residents for community buy-in? Or
Well, the first question is, how many people who are farming live in the city limits? I can name you 25 right off the top of my head. Now, I don't know, Mike Slattery's one, and I bring up that name simply because, is he farming or not? I don't know, but he owns a lot of property out there, and I do believe he does a lot of farming, but he actually lives inside the city. So if you say no one from inside the city lives in the county anymore, then you can't have him, and it might affect him.
no, this is a conversation.
So I am saying to you,
Yeah.
yes, there are a lot of people who are on both sides of that fence, but I will also tell you, I've had people in my office this morning who live right on the edge of the city limits, and they're discussing something that's in the county. So each in itself, we can say this doesn't affect that, but that does affect this.
Yep.
Now, there is a way to get people who truly have a virtual opinion on things who could make reasonable decisions, I believe. And some of those would be people who own property, on both sides of the fence. But the reality is, what happens, you're talking about rock quarries. Well, I am going to tell you, by the same means, the city dealt a lot with the rock quarries when they were hauling rock down Second Street, right past the college and right past all those businesses and down a historic district. And so what does go on here does affect that. I will also tell you, the city has a rule, they have to have at least 2 people from the rural area on their planning commission. So, and that is because they have what is known as extraterritorial subdivision regulations. So because of that, they have to. Now, at the time they did it, they also enacted an extraterritorial zoning ordinance. But then that was protested and they wiped it out because they said it wasn't a protest they wanted to fight.
That's a good point about folks living in the city that are farmers, because I've said that when you talk about the overlap. I mean, if you go downtown and pick out all the business owners, there's a big group of business owners that are rural residents outside the city limits that are contributing to the success of the city of Atchison. So no, I get that.
Absolutely. All I'm saying is, when you start segregating, you don't know where to draw the lines necessarily.
I just know that's a fear.
So one of the issues was, or one of the thoughts was, take somebody from each township to be on that committee. That way you have representation from the entire rural community.
Well, and that's what I was wondering. Was that statute I read, is that still valid? Like, because that speaks completely to how they like each zone of rural residents. But anyway, just
1929-57.
yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, we still have next week to.
Yep.
But basically, we're gonna come into it with, we're not experts. We want to hear from you, your concerns, so we can gauge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like I said, the example that was given to us was, can you assist me with this without zoning? And of course, we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We couldn't help assist that person with his issue. And so that's why the question came up. Should we be looking at some kind of limited targeted zoning? And we do have a adjoining county that did something very similar to that. So.
So next Thursday, no, next Wednesday, I'm sorry, next Wednesday, May 28th at 7 PM in the courthouse. We will have a zoning and planning meeting.
Discussion.
Yeah, discussion.
In
And
the room.
well, so we're shooting for the large courtroom. I need to go up and see. I know it'll hold more than this room. So that's probably gonna be our better option. Okay,
What you had me put on Facebook.
said courthouse.
Said the commission room.
Which we can just put a note down here, or I can stand by the doors and tell people. I just don't think we'll have enough room down here after the county lake meeting, I think. Okay,
Sounds good.
all right, next we have a consideration of resolution, Atchison County Extension District Resolution. And this one will be resolution number.
Thanks, Roger.
All right, good.
Sorry.
1552.
Resolution to approve proposed extension district. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners of Atchison County, Kansas is authorized to approve an agreement pertaining to proposed extension districts created under K.S.A. 2-623. And whereas it is the desire of the Atchison County Extension Council to join Brown and Donovan County Extension Councils in forming an extension district pursuant to K.S.A. 2-623. And whereas pursuant to K.S.A. 2-623, prior to approving the agreement of the proposed extension district, the Board of County Commissioners of Atchison County, Kansas are required to provide certain notice. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Atchison County, Kansas, that it is the intention of the Board of County Commissioners of Atchison County, Kansas to approve an agreement to permit the Atchison County Extension Council to join the Brown and Donovan County Extension Councils in forming an extension district pursuant to K.S.A. 2-623. Be it further resolved that the extension district shall have for its sole purpose the giving of instruction and practical demonstration in agriculture, marketing, home economics, family and consumer science, 4-H club, youth work, community and resource development, and economic development initiatives to all persons in the extension district, and the imparting of such persons of information on the subjects through practical demonstrations, meetings, publications, or otherwise in accordance with the program and service prescribed by the governing body of the extension district. And finally, be it finally resolved that if within 60 days following the last publication of this resolution, a petition in opposition to the approval of the agreement and the inclusion of Atchison County in the extension district is signed by not less than 5% of the Board of County Commissioners of Atchison County, Kansas, will not approve the agreement, and Atchison County will not be included in the extension district unless and until the agreement is approved by the majority of the qualifying electors of Atchison County, voting as a primary or a general election or a special election called and held for such purpose. This resolution shall become effective the day and year below it is adopted. Okay, that was a lot. Sorry. I would look for a motion to approve the resolution as presented by our Atchison County Extension Council.
Also move. So.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0 on this 20th day of May 2025. Okay, I'm gonna stop Howard here. I think if you guys are okay with it, to keep going and hold the executive session for 1 o'clock, which will put us right in tune with the workshop with Sheriff Lori. And go ahead and do the PO. We have Scott Howard, IT Director, consideration of PO for district court computers. Is it okay to go ahead and present that?
Sure.
Okay.
So I just have their computer refresh for 2025. They have 5 computers that they're wanting to do. They kind of went back and forth, so I don't want to give an exact quote right now because we might switch from a desktop to a laptop for one of them. So I just would like approval for 6,000 for computers.
And this is out of their budget,
Mhm.
court's budget?
Correct.
Okay,
And yeah, it'll be out of their budget.
2025 budget.
Mhm. And it
Okay.
is a planned expense. So
Okay, planned expense. I'd look for a motion to approve the purchase order as presented by our IT director to Dell Marketing for 5 Dell, either desktop or laptops up to $6,000. This will come out of the district court budget.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Passes 3-0. Yep. Thank you. We will do your executive session in just a second. So, I'm not sure if you guys are here just to enjoy our Tuesday meeting or if you have something, but I wanted to point out, we have to go into an executive session, at 1 o'clock. And then, so we have about 9 minutes. Typically our public comment is at the front of the meeting unless it was something on our agenda. But I would definitely, if you guys are welcome to come up here in just a second.
We went to Mr. Hendrickson's office and the young lady said he was up here, so we come up here.
Okay, perfect. Well, come on up, sir. Thank you.
I'll give this to Mr. Henderson. I think he's in charge. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. You wrote that, didn't you? I did. Where did you get it? Well, I signed it. I put my name on the back and. Well, there's several names on here. Bill, the one signed it. My name there is on. Yeah, right. Yep, absolutely. So do you want to talk about junk in the county right of way? Well, I'd like to know where it's in. I'm not in the county. I'm in township. I'm not on a county road at all. At either residence. And I'm not encroaching on them that I know of. If I am, I will remove.
But somebody needs to determine where the right of ways are. So we can be in compliance, you know, and it talks about there being a traffic impedance. When. There's more impedances than that, since we're on the right of way. Any county bridge you try to cross, there's trees hanging in the right of way, that's an impedance.
And if I'm on the road right away, I don't have an issue with removing, and we did that in 21.
In 21, we did a major cleanup.
260 ton,
And we have heard nothing about it for the last 3 years and then get a letter in the mail.
that's why we're here.
That's
I'm
why we're-
encroaching on the road, I'll remove. Not a problem.
What are we talking about? What area? Particular? So just
Well,
so I know.
one area is south of Eden, Kansas. You know where Eden, Kansas is?
I have an idea, yes. Yes, sir.
It's a mile south Eden.
Okay,
The other property is a half mile west of the St. Louis County.
Okay.
Off of Morton Road, which is 318.
all right. So is it, in that letter, does it state that the right away? Does it talk about, because I haven't seen.
copy of the.
Okay. Because I know the right of way actual footage changes from, it's not always consistent, so you have to, yeah, is that what you're saying?
Well,
That as far as the,
and somebody'd have to look up what the right of ways are, because, you know,
Right.
Atchison County's full of 30, 40,
right,
50,
right.
60, and what are state highways, 120? I mean,
Yeah, city is 80, I think, or something like that, so you're right, it's different.
We assume these are 40-foot right of ways. Not 100% sure.
Okay.
So this is really good feedback, for us to do better moving forward, because when we send you the letter to state what the right of way is and maybe attach photos of what exactly we're like, so that you know, right? Like that you're like, oh, if I'm to get in compliance, because it sounds like to me that's your goal, is just to be in compliance, and from what you know, you're not out of compliance. So a little bit of clarification. So thank you for that feedback. I think we can definitely do better on our end to improve the process so that we give you all those pieces of information.
That should be in the letter that this road is a 50-foot.
Right.
This location, it's a 40-foot.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's, yeah, never thought of that, including that in that letter.
That's really
Like
great
you said,
feedback.
attached pictures.
Yeah,
to
that-
go-
Yep,
It's like I said, in 21, it was all draw.
yep.
I mean, never heard a word about it out of anybody. And then here we are 3 years later and we get a letter about it and it talks about rank vegetation growth in the right of way. Well, unless I mow my right of ways, they are not mowed. And they said snow removal. I said, well, half the time if I don't push my own snow, my road doesn't get open.
We don't impede the road.
So
Okay.
they
Yeah.
talk about rank
Yeah.
vegetation growth. Well, like I said, every bridge you approach, there's trees hanging over the bridge. That would be rank vegetation growth in my opinion.
On the county bridges.
On the county bridges. So
Well, thank you.
how can we be out of compliance and the county be in compliance?
No, it's really good feedback, and this is good. We need dialogue to know, what we need to improve on, and I think those suggestions are good.
Yeah,
Says
never
I
thought
got-
about putting the right of way.
Said I got 10 days to do something and they're gonna take further action.
But we were never told.
Well, you've done something. You came to us, and we can get our ducks in a row and clarify some things for you guys. And
Yeah.
do you have their contact? They're in your district, right?
Yes.
Do you have their contact info
he's
to
on
follow up?
question.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, sounds good. Thank you guys very much for coming, and
I don't like coming up here. Nothing against
Well, we-
I got other things.
well, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
I don't think we've met. I'm new here. I've seen you somewhere. I'm not sure.
You're
That's my name. That's Kyle.
Kyle, nice to meet you.
Yep. We knew you was a new guy. Good luck. Yeah. Gotta get that.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Gotta keep it.
Okay, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
So
Well, so
the zoning deal, you guys got a meeting, gotta do.
You guys
So
got.
what's the
Wednesday.
zoning all about? I mean, they've tried this before in the past.
Uh-huh.
But it failed. I think they had so much opposition.
well, and that's probably before us, so we're excited to
Yeah.
hear where the county stands on it.
George Ross Jr. was a commissioner and
Oh,
that's
yeah.
been quite a while. ago.
Yeah, yep,
I did come to that meeting.
awesome. Well, we hope to
Yeah.
see you on next Wednesday, the 28th at 7 o'clock.
28.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have
Well, here's some.
executive session.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Executive session for matters relating to security measures. And it will be 30 minutes, finance director, IT director, county counselor, commission, and county clerk, 30 minutes.
Can you go I wasn't writing those down.
Oh, sure, just, I wrote them above my chicken scratch here, so all those.
Okay. This is a different template than normal
Oh, yeah.
because this goes, and I've
You
got it.
Okay. perfect.
I'll give this to you when we're done.
I have
it. I
actually brought it for you. I've already got it. And I'll
Oh,
make
you've
a
already got
copy
it?
for it
Okay.
or leave it in.
I'll move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session for how long?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. The subjects to be discussed during the closed or executive meetings are matters relating to security measures that protect the information system of the county. The justification for the closed meeting is that discussion of such matters at an open meeting would jeopardize such security measures and is authorized under K.S.A. 75-4319B12C. The board will come out of executive session in 30 minutes in the commission room of the courthouse basement, and those present will be
finance director, IT, county counselor, 3 commissioners, and county clerk.
Yeah, I will second. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0.
For you. Don't worry.
We had another Scott Howard here earlier.
I know, I heard. Yeah, I was listening and I heard my name and I was like, that's not me. Yeah.
Just Casey and I looked at it and I didn't know we had a second.
Positive. I got both. Yeah.
It's glitched out. There in the middle. I'm staying on. It said 1:30 for sheriff, right?
Yes.
Okay, he was out in the hall and I freaked out. Because
He has it.
okay,
Mess.
I was like, I hope I have my timelines right. He's already out there. Okay. Now I'm gonna see this. That's okay. I just wanted to make sure that.
He chose that time.
Okay, no, I was just, when I went to the restroom, I saw him out there. I was like, oh. That was one thing last week, and I'm trying to be mindful of these timelines because everyone in our organization's time is precious and I'm trying to, but sometimes it's hard when you really want to, be able to, I guess, finish a conversation. So, but today's been good. All right, we are back in open session. And I would look for a motion to adjourn into budget workshops. We have planned budget workshops at 1:30 with the sheriff Lori for the jail, the sheriff emergency management, and Atchison County Dispatch for the 2026 budget requests.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. We will adjourn at 1:31.